Alright, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about probably the hardest challenge I've had to face in my lifting journey so far. And no, it's not some particular lift or staying consistent or whatever. It was actually my first ever proper deload week. And you might think, how is that difficult? But I found that, I love lifting and it's gotten to the point where it is difficult for me to not go. I've been lifting 5 days a week, my most recent split, last 6 or so months. And the only times I've missed days is if I've injured myself and I physically can't train, or I'm unwell and I physically can't train. Even then, I really try and get to the gym as consistently as possible, and get to the point where literally I can't not go. I don't know if you're in that situation or not, but it's honestly easier for me to go than not. And my rest days are tough. And to have a whole week off where I know sometimes you can take deloads where you still go to the gym and you're light. I just decided to take the full week off because it's not the only thing that I do in terms of physical activity. I still play basketball and I still run. So it's not like I was doing nothing for a week, but not going to the gym and having that extreme physical exertion and the nature of the gym is so unique, especially compared to other more sport focused activities. That exertion, having to push yourself that close to failure in that nature of movement, you kind of just don't get anywhere else. And I find it's just a different kind of release physically. And to not have that was really difficult. I found it harder than anything I've done before. Harder than, significantly harder than even those shit workouts when you've had no sleep and you're feeling like crap and the workout is so bad, but you're still going and lifting anyway. Like, those workouts suck, but this was just difficult on a different level. I was just sitting at home, I took a few more rest days. I was just trying to relax and let my body recover. I was having, sore joints, and it felt like ligaments rather than muscles were getting sore. And to just sit home and force myself to rest was almost mentally harder because I didn't have that physical release. I didn't have that physical, it's kind of hard to describe, physical consistency, if you will. That turning up. It was kind of been my rock in my life especially the last 2 years, when I switched gyms and when I really started taking lifting seriously. It's been, whether the day was shit or good or whatever, I always had the gym. I was always going to the gym, and I was, pretty consistently making progress. And the one aspect of my life that was as close to linear progress as possible. And so I could always just fall back on, if everything else is going shit, at least I'm making progress in the gym. And so to not have that, and to take, whilst a week is such a short period of time, it was really difficult to not have that progress. And, even coming back, this is my second workout back today. And you've got to still ease into it. So realistically, you're looking at a week and a half to 2 weeks of not being able to go super crazy without doing something stupid. So my gym are doing a bunch of giveaways, so trying out these C4s. They're not bad. I don't mind them. Anyways, finding that ability to just detach from the gym and not rely on it so heavily was a big learning curve. It took me, it's definitely a struggle to find other ways and other areas in your day-to-day life to find those little wins and, essentially have boxes to tick towards, your goals. Because while you're resting and recovering, yeah, you could technically say you're making progress. It's still investment. You're looking after yourself, and it's still in your lifting journey. Like these deload weeks are necessary. It just doesn't feel like you're making tangible progress. When you see that progressive overload in the gym, that is tangible progress. You are stronger than the last time you came here and did this movement. And to find that elsewhere was a real challenge for me, even just in 1 week. And I think it goes to show that I need to start looking at, well, not necessarily looking at elsewhere, but detaching from being so hung up on how well my life is going dependent on one aspect, and rather really focus on that holistic nature of self-improvement, rather than just looking at, oh, well, my gym workout was, my gym lifts have been shit this week, so I'm having a shit week. But make it a piece of the puzzle and be able to stack wins elsewhere, whether it is, the channel, or if it's something else, social aspect, or whatever it may be. But to actually stack wins in multiple areas, multiple times a day, and to compound that in multiple areas, rather than just putting all your eggs in one basket and focusing. Well, while yes, it is good to prioritize certain things and certain aspects, you can't let that determine how you perceive this current period in your life. You can't perceive, you can't be completely feeling shit about yourself because you've just had a major shoulder injury, for example, and your lifts are down. And all of a sudden, this is meant to be your period where you focus on the gym and you're getting stronger and you're looking better. And all of a sudden you can't do that. And so it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? It's important to have other areas that you can rely on that still add value. Even if it's little things like spending time reading, or meditating, or, going back to the basics of self-improvement, just to find some other reasons to, consider the day productive. Whether that's a healthy mindset or not, it's a good goal to have a baseline of, I want to have something done, at least in this day, that is towards my goal. Especially when there are so many things you can do. It's such a wide range of things. If the gym isn't working at the moment, or you're having a deload week, or whatever, you can go elsewhere. You can record a bunch of videos, and you can, whatever it might be. Whether it is, you're studying at uni, you get ahead on some study, or get ahead, make some money, however, work on your business. These kind of things that may not be your number one focus, but can contribute to a day that isn't all negative. And you can still take something positive out of it whilst not working towards, having a bit of a one step back in your main goal, but 2 or 3 steps forward in other goals. And this is how I need to learn, and how I've very quickly learned how you can't focus and get too hung up on short-term, day-to-day progress, and just focus on the compounding wins, stacking wins, doing little things if it's not your focus, if it's not your purpose at the moment, trying to get as many things going in your direction and as many things not limiting you as possible. Obviously, there are going to be days where not a lot of things happen, and the only good thing you might do is fucking, I don't know, you read a book or you generated a couple of video ideas. If that's all you do, you can still say, well, I didn't do nothing towards my goal. I did something. And to get into that habit, I'm almost certain will guarantee you progress. There's just no way it doesn't. If you're moving forward in one way every single day, eventually you're going to be where you need to be. Whether that step is this big or it's this, it's a big fucking step, you're still making steps. And if you're always going forward, you're not going backwards. Anyways, I think I'll wrap it up here. If you're still here at the end of the video, I love you. And remember, life is what you make it.